On this episode of the Three Pillars Academy, Lynn Coutts from Maine joins us, and we're going to talk about working in college athletics as a woman, having a family, and all these great topics.
Great.
So first, let's just start with your journey, from where you kind of started your career in college athletics to where you are now at Maine.
Well, it's pretty simple. Obviously played softball at the University of Maine, got out, coached a little bit, went into marketing promotions at Maine as well, and my husband coached baseball, so we were both there at the same time. And then after 12 years of him coaching and me doing some things at Maine, we decided to leave and open a training center for baseball and softball. So we were gone for about 15 years with a small business, opened 3 different ones, came back to Maine, started coaching again. Mike was my assistant, transitioned into administration. He still coached, and here I am.
Let's talk about transitioning from coaching to administration. Talk about that step you took and how that transition was for you.
Well, I was not planning on being an administrator, let's say that. I love coaching, still love coaching, but the athletic director asked me at that time, would you be interested in, we need somebody to do this? And I took a couple days, and I just decided, you know what, I'm going to make the jump. So the transition for me was actually pretty easy because I'd been there for a while. The coaches already knew me. And so for that piece of it was very easy. I had no idea the other things that were involved in it. I just take the jump. So with me, opportunity presents itself, and I just go. So I don't think you ever have to be 100% ready for anything. But that piece for me at Maine, because I was there so long, and then working with coaches and having some respect and credibility, that to me was a pretty easy jump for me.
You've mentioned your husband, and you have 2 children.
Yes.
Many men and women in college athletics who are working in college athletics aspire to have family, work, life, do it all. Talk about this journey that you're in when you're working, you got kids, husband, all of that.
Well, I would say first and foremost, you have to find the right person to live your life with and to be able to balance some things. I actually don't believe in balance, I believe in alignment. So having children was something that we wanted to do, and we were coaches before we were parents. So our kids actually were born into a lifestyle. And so they don't know anything different. We don't know anything different. There are challenges along the way. But you both have to understand that the expectations have to be somewhat lowered. Your house may not be perfectly clean. You might not eat dinner at the same time every night. But it all gets done. And we've been very fortunate to have, mothers come in, and my mother, Mike's mom, come in on weekends when we used to travel together and we coached together. So we made that work. But our kids are part of it, and we're around kids. I mean, we actually spend more time with other people's kids than our own kids, but sometimes I'm home on a weekend and my kids will say, are you staying home this weekend, or are you leaving? I thought you were leaving. I go, no, I'm home this weekend. They're like, oh, okay. But it's just part of our lifestyle.
As you said, your kids are a part of it.
Yes.
So bringing them to work, bringing them with you to the office, how is that experience, and not saying working that balance between it, but how do you create that to have them be a part of that life?
When we had our training center, our first year away from Maine, we had our son Jackson, and I can remember after about 8 weeks I went back into teaching lessons, and I was coaching high school too, so I had one of my kids come and watch Jackson while I was doing lessons. I walk in, they're not there yet, and there was a mom sitting waiting for her kid, and I said, could you just hold him until my babysitter gets here? They loved it. So my kids, I say, they grew up in a cage, right? In the batting cage. So that was just part of coming to work. Now, did they like it all the time? Probably not, but my son's playing baseball at Rhode Island, so I think he liked it. My daughter's an athlete as well. But it also teaches that mom and dad can go do work. It's fun. So I would go, actually in our training center, I think it all started there. We never had a babysitter, which is kind of weird. He would go during the day. I would go at night. We'd pass the kids off, and it worked for about 15 years. So college athletics right now, I don't know how I would do it right now if my kids were young and we were doing this, but I have no secrets, and I think everybody figures it out somehow, and there's no perfect answer. And I think that's what people run into is like they're supposed to do some certain thing, and they have people give you their opinions, and you know what? Whatever works for you, you can make this work. And it is a lifestyle. It's not just a job. And you have to love it.
Encouraging some of those who are starting their families, have young children, maybe what's some advice looking back at your experiences you'd give them?
I think athletics creates such a great family environment. I think the kids, even at Maine, when my kids come in, when I was coaching softball, they love to see my kids. Jackson would come and hit home runs, and it would be fun. I think coaching is a great environment to bring children into. I know we have other people's kids we're taking care of, so it's already a family environment. So I think it's pretty easy to involve your own children.
Well, thank you for these stories, having your children be a part of it, being honest and relying on the support of your staff and your coworkers, and just being genuine about the journey. So thank you for joining us on this 3 Pillars Academy episode.